You saw the visuals. They speak for themselves. A footpath is perhaps the most basic promise any city makes to its citizens, a place where people should be able to walk safely without stepping into moving traffic. Yet, in most Indian cities, finding an uninterrupted stretch of footpath has become a challenge in itself. Some are occupied by shops spilling into the pavement, others disappear under parked vehicles, temporary stalls, construction debris, or even permanent structures. Now, Bengaluru's latest Safe Footpath campaign has brought that everyday reality into sharp focus. Because what began as a civic drive to reclaim public space has quickly turned into a debate over livelihoods, over fairness, and the way that our cities, the prime ones, are at least governed. The city's civic body says the objective is straightforward: to make Bengaluru more walkable and safer for pedestrians by removing illegal obstructions from footpaths. But street vendors, on the other hand, they see the campaign very differently. They argue that while nobody is questioning the need for better footpaths, the burden of enforcement appears to be falling disproportionately only on small traders who depend on these spaces to earn a living. Their question is simple as well. If these rules are meant for everyone, shouldn't the action be uniform as well? And that allegation has now become the center of the controversy. Vendors claim that certain establishments and other encroachments have escaped this scrutiny, whilst smaller businesses and vendors, they're facing demolition. And whether that perception is correct or not is something the administration will have to answer sooner or later. But it has certainly added a political dimension to what began as a pure civic exercise. The debate also forces us to look beyond the street vending. Across India, our footpaths are rarely lost because of just one reason. There's illegal parking, there's commercial extensions, building ramps, construction material, poorly planned civic infrastructure. How many times have we spoken about that? All compete for the same public space. In many places, pedestrians are left with no choice but to walk on the road, which is why this conversation is bigger than it seems. It's really about the kind of cities that we want to build for ourselves. Cities where walking is safe and convenient, but also cities where those who earn an honest livelihood are treated fairly and where necessary rehabilitated rather than simply removed or their kiosks demolished. So the big questions, and we've got two very credible voices with us. Can urban authorities strike that balance that we're talking about? Can enforcement be consistent in this regard, regardless of who the encroacher is? And after decades of expanding cities and shrinking public spaces, why do pedestrians still seem to be the last priority? Let's put those questions to our panelists. Mr. Basavaraj Itnal, senior journalist with us on the broadcast, and Brinda Adegeji, social activist, also with us on the broadcast. Mr. Itnal, you see, the allegations are simple. The vendors see this campaign a different way, and the GBA or the BBMP, like people still call it, see it a different way. They want streets to be walkable, but then the vendors say the signboards with political affiliations, they were gone off. Scrutiny is not uniform across the board. I mean, how serious is this issue? We've seen these kind of drives in the past as well in Bengaluru. What makes this one a little bit different? What makes this one a little bit different?
The situation as far as this footpath clearance is concerned, or for that matter, even the building deviation in Bangalore, they're very, very tricky. In the first place, the GP or BBMP, whatever civic agency be called, they allow this rampant deviations and also use of footpath by the vendors. They've been allowing for decades. And one fine morning they wake up and they'll start clearing. They'll take the bulldozer. It is no more an issue of footpath being the right of the citizen. Yes, it is. But more importantly, it is a question of livelihood of those poor people.
Yeah.
I mean, we cannot be allowing this for forever, and then suddenly one fine morning, Mr. Krishna Bairegowda calls a meeting of the officials, and he says, of the 14,000 kilometers of Bangalore roads, I will select only 2,000 kilometers road, and for there I will create free footpaths for free, free for all kind of concept. Yes, the concept of urban planning is pedestrian first. But had it ever been implemented? Leave Bangalore. Is it implemented in Delhi, in Bombay, in any city for that matter? In Bangalore only, there is no place to walk on Brigade Road, in the commercial street. They're all full of a lot of merchants. See, first of all, you have to make alternate arrangements for the livelihood of the people. When there is choice between livelihood and the civic amenities, the livelihood is more important. The first make alternate arrangement for the livelihood of the people, then do whatever civic management or housekeeping you want to do. And much more pressing issue in front of GBA today is garbage management.
Absolutely.
Municipal solid waste management. That they are not this kind of seriousness. I don't see. They're not doing it on this kind
I
of
think the
hospital.
elections are also, they also need to be taken into account. For the longest time, there have been no elections to the municipal body.
Kabir, exactly the point. These street vendors form a sizable and substantial part of the vote base. And
Yeah.
if this is how they are going to face GB elections, then I don't think they hold any promise.
Okay. Brindaji, let me come to you. You see, I was going through Krishna Baire Gowda's post on Twitter today. He says, how it's being done is that notices will be issued before any action. There's not going to be a sudden crackdown. Action will follow the Street Vendors Protection Act and the Supreme Court guidelines. Do you think that's actually being taken into account? Because according to the words and the statements and the remarks that are coming from those vendors that have now seen their entire shops and kiosks simply demolished by these bulldozers or, taken away by cranes, it seems like this Vendors Protection Act has completely been sidelined.
You're absolutely right. The Vendors Protection Act has been sidelined, and by doing that, the livelihoods of thousands of people has been snatched away by the state. The state made the promises saying that, yes, you are small vendors, that vending on the streets depends, or your livelihood depends on it. But let us ask a very pertinent question. There is no communication, no coordination or convergence between any of the allied departments, whether PWD, BBMP and the police. You see, there are no footpaths at all. Wherever there are footpaths, it is so shoddy that there is nothing except people who can fall into the ditch. And where there are some footpaths, there are very small traders. And these traders will have no livelihood business when it rains. They just pack up and they go. And like you pointed out, the big shopkeepers have all gotten away. So to who do you issue the notice? On what grounds? Or how do you issue the notice? Is it a public notice that you make on Twitter or on some TV or newspaper? Or do you go and hand it over to them at their shops? On what is this public notice that you're talking about? So we want to ask all these questions. It was a promise made by the state government that vendors and their livelihoods will not be challenged by such actions. Now, if that is exactly what you're trying to do, and if you're talking so much about civic amenities and footpath for the pedestrians and the citizens, very good. Where is your police when all the two-wheelers are riding on that footpath? Where are the police and the BBMP when all the footpaths are occupied with the vehicles that
absolutely.
have been parked over there?
You're raising pertinent points here, ma'am. You see, many residents support clearing of these footpaths. It's not like everybody is against it. It is the need of the hour as well. We all know the kind of situation and state Bengaluru is in right now. But what we also require and want, Mr. Itnal, is some sort of fairness. So, should the GBA or the BBMP first demonstrate that every illegal occupation from parked cars to commercial extensions is going to be treated equally? Because on paper, this doesn't seem like a mammoth of a task. Then why, even after 2 days of this campaign, there is still hue and cry on the streets?
I think that the BBMP...
Go ahead, Mr. Itnal. I'm going to come
Please
back
go
to you,
ahead.
Brindaji.
I guess the BBMP is totally, confused its focus on this, and they don't know they confuse their priorities as well. This is the second Supreme Court order they are trying to implement in an absolutely inhuman way. The last one was in 2025, a Supreme Court order which was issued saying that building deviations must be dealt with sternly, strictly, and it was pertaining to a case in Rajasthan, I guess, and that was given out to all states. And these civic officials do not understand that the orders are prospective in nature, not retrospective.
Yeah.
So this is also comes at the backdrop of a Supreme Court order. And suddenly they wake up and they start doing this. Definitely, Mr. Krishna Baire Gowda also knows he is pleasing nobody in this drive. In footpath clearance drive, neither the pedestrian is happy, nor the vendor is happy, nobody is happy.
After all of that run-ins to the Delhi, top brass, of getting the right kind of ministry, and then everybody is gung-ho and enthusiastic about doing the right thing after getting that ministry, look what's happening.
Kabir, if this was to be done, what was that all about? Going to Delhi and getting the portfolio, what was that all
I
about?
agree with you. Exactly, sir. I absolutely. You made a pertinent point on that particular front. Brindaji, you see, this controversy exposes that Bengaluru allowed unplanned growth for years on end and now suddenly wants to, wave the magic wand and fix everything back again. But I must ask and act as the devil's advocate here. Running out of time here, my final question to you. The city is battling traffic. There's poor walkability. I'm sure Mr. Itnal will also agree. There is shrinkage of public spaces. We know what has happened to the lakes over there. Can Bengaluru realistically become this pedestrian-friendly city without taking some of these hard decisions?
Absolutely. A process and a procedure requires to be followed, and one has to be strict, irrespective of political patronage that some of them might claim, and because of which they are, very leniently tried and concessions are given to them. You can do this. It is possible. Look at all the apartment dwellers who have encroached upon footpaths, extended their boundaries.
Malls are encroached. Malls are encroached.
Yeah. Independent houses, politicians' houses.
Yeah.
Everybody has encroached. First, go to the leaders. First, go to all of these politicians and political party workers who have made the footpaths and almost half the road as their own property. Be strict with them, and then you can come to the other regular footpaths wherever they may be, and be fair to.
So you're essentially the most operative part that I can take and summarize it for the viewers is that there is clearly more than the government can do. And this knee-jerk setup that has come about, and look at this, it's just been 2 days. It's from the 1st of July till the 10th of July. So it's going to continue to go on. And I think the BJP is going to make sure that they make, ruckus about this as well. Highlighting these issues. It's going to be a big political story. I think we're going to leave it at that over here. Many thanks, Mr. Itnal, for bringing the story into perspective. And Brindaji, always a pleasure to have you with us here on News 9. I think that's one question that we'll leave you with, whether Bengaluru can balance this right to walk with the right to earn, and what kind of city that the pedestrians actually want themselves to be living in. That's all the time we have for you in this edition of IYI. We're going to catch you again tomorrow. Many thanks for watching.
Meet the tomorrow today. ICFI is the bridge between tomorrow and today. Bridge between aspirations and accomplishment. Bridge between I wish to I can. I will remove